Pack leaders is here, friends are protecting family, protecting pack, and today we're going to talk about the case for World War III. So, looking back at World War II and in the war in Afghanistan, we kind of had to have a reason, right? We can't just say, "Hey, I'm going to go over there and take your oil," or whatever, or take you out for no apparent reason, because we'll be seen as mean tyrants, and we're just greedy for land, and you just want to conquer everybody for no apparent reason, right? So we need something like a Pearl Harbor event or 9/11 event. And you kind of think about how, I think I read somewhere, now I kind of looked this up, I'll probably look it up with you guys as I do this video, where somehow the radar was under repair, or being repaired, or shut down, and somehow the Japanese were able to come in with a bunch of planes and a huge fleet at this perfect time that this radar was shut down, and our ships were all lined up nicely for them to take out. Let's look it up. Let's go ahead and grab this little browser here. Pearl Harbor radar. Man who tried to stop Pearl Harbor, Daily Beast. Officer mistook radar warning of Pearl Harbor raid. Shut down. Let's try that. Let's read this guy. Alright, the man who tried to stop Pearl Harbor. George Elliott was one of the servicemen manning the radar stations on Oahu morning, December 7th, 1941, when he reported a huge sighting on his radar screen. He was ignored, okay? I was sitting on a computer in my Laguna Beach condo working on a website I long since forgotten when an email popped up with nothing in the subject line. Do you know who I am? Another April Fool's joke, I thought to myself as I moved my cursor up to click the delete button. I glanced down and noticed the sender, George E. Elliott Jr. I stopped. The attack on Pearl Harbor 25 years ago. Being a devotee of World War II history, I knew exactly who he was. On an early morning, December 7th, 1941, George Elliott and Joseph Locker were manning a radar unit in Kahuku Point on the mountainous north coast of Oahu in Hawaii when they spotted the first wave of Japanese planes flying to attack Pearl Harbor. Why are you asking this? I replied. I wrote to pearlharbor.com and ignored me, but I see that you are a contact of pearlharbor.com. His reply made me smile. In 2001, pearlharbor.com was a huge site built to promote the upcoming Pearl Harbor movie, or movie for Pearl Harbor. Okay, this has nothing to. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to speed read through real quick. The radar unit has been recently installed, and they were to operate only from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. December 7th. They received an order to shut it down early in 6:54 a.m., but George, who had a little experience and desired more, kept it running. Okay, so he didn't follow his instructions to shut it down, okay? So he kept it running. At 7:02, he picked up a enormous blip coming in 137 miles from the north. According to George, Joe expressed no interest in his discovery and didn't care because maybe it was a planned attack. I don't know. It was a setup. It has to be a Pearl Harbor event so that we can go to war. And was more interested in getting breakfast. Regardless, George instead insisted that it be reported, and Joe agreed that George could telephone the information center 50 miles away. He left the message for the operator, and 7:20 the lieutenant on duty called back and told Joe that the blip was a dozen B-17 bombers flying in from San Francisco. That was Lieutenant Tyler, correct? I asked Lieutenant Tyler, infamously portrayed 1970 movie Tora as disregarding the alert, responding, "Don't worry about it." George was having none of it. You are not to mention Kermit Tyler's name. He suffered enough. Alright, anyways. What a coincidence, right? Big old blip. Somehow we missed it. That was just a perfect time for them to come in within that small little window in history. I think somehow the Japanese found this little window of hour to attack. And normally, how would the Japanese know that? I don't know. Normally, the radar should have been up and running 24/7, around the clock. and the Japanese should have known to that when they come in, there's going to be resistance, heavy resistance from the U.S. Okay, but somehow I don't know, it was shut down within those hours, and the Japanese came in and bombed. Yeah, and so then that caused awakening the sleeping dragon, and we went and engaged in World War II. Okay, so 9/11. Well, there's Saddam Hussein, maybe harboring terrorists. I don't know. Somehow the building, planes crashed into it, and somehow after it crashed into it, there were like puffs of smoke coming out of the building as like it was a demolition. And buildings don't really fall in on itself. If you look at to World War II, let's see, World War II bombed out buildings. If you shoot a bomb at it, like here's some pictures. They at least. Oh, that's this. Okay. Let's find some real pictures. All right, this is just a house. Let's find a tower. Something little like a big building or something. There it goes. At least the thing stands or it falls over. Or just a big old hole in the walls, or it's still there. And there are buildings that have burned for several hours, made of steel, and it still doesn't melt unless you have a furnace, like a hot furnace that can with lots of oxygen to generate the type of heat that it needs. And usually you need more than just several hours to get it to that temperature. Now we have jet fuel, I agree, yeah, but then it's not filled with oxygen to raise the heat level up. If you pour gasoline onto a little bonfire and throw some steel into it, you're not gonna melt it. It just sits there really like you've seen in campfires where you throw stuff into it and stuff that you brought from home, chairs, and you see the frame of the chair doesn't melt within an hour. It doesn't. It just sits there and just looks hot. So let's look at some more buildings here. Maybe find some towers here that are like kind of. I know it's gonna be hard to find something as high as twin towers, but let's just see the nature of how buildings fall. All right. Let's see here. Let me find some skyscrapers here. Let me type in skyscrapers. Alright, let's see here. What is this? Soldiers wandering through the cathedral. Okay, whatever. Stand bombed out. The walls still stand. Okay. And let's see what else. To shoot out and whatever. There it is. Burned for several hours. They don't just collapse in on itself. Okay. You ask any civil engineer, if you actually watch the videos and documentary of it, and people are like, dude, this thing is like, why would you hear implosions right before it collapsed? And not to mention, it took less than an hour for it to actually fall down. So you see back here, let's see here, buildings being bombed out, the walls are still there, things are still good. It doesn't just implode on itself. Okay. What's this over here? Some kind of rubble from somewhere. You'll see stuff leaning over. Okay. Try to make a case here. See if I can find some good pictures. Let's see. Another one here. 2 stories, bombed out. It still stands, right? Alright, so I think I've tried to find enough pictures. I don't know they had skyscrapers that high at the time back in World War II because maybe the technology or whatever wasn't there, or maybe they don't have pictures of big major cities being bombed out with skyscrapers in it. Let's see. Tall apartment building burning. All right, so let's look at this. Maybe this is the hot fire, okay? And then let's see if there's a let's see how many hours it burned. Let's visit the site here. What do you do caught in a high-rise building fire? Okay, so you can say maybe, you know, there's some fire there and it's burning up, and the heat is building up. Let's see if there's any examples of how long it stood. Let's see here. People, blah blah blah. Time. Time and time again, blah 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 blah. I don't see. How long does it take for a tall apartment building to come down? There were videos where saying it actually burned for like a day and a half or 2 days before it actually fell down. And when it fell down, it wasn't like it didn't implode on itself. It fell over, you know. Let's see. London fire, worst high wires blaze, maybe? How about before and after? Let's see if we can find that. This one, 70 were injured, 17-story building. Oh man, what's with this? 60 stories. Oh, what is this? Oh, that's it. Alright. Maybe before and after. Alright, let's see here. Before and after. Okay. West, south, east. So this is all burnt out, but this building still stood. Damage to Fall Tower, southeast, west elevation. Hopefully you get the point here. So let me see if I can show you something here. So Greenfire Tower, June 14th at 4, 5, 6. So it's been burned for 2 hours, still stood, and I believe the 24 was reported till following day to get it. Right, so it took about a day, the following day, to get it under control, but it still stood. Okay. So just kind of look into that, and I believe 9/11, the towers fell within like a couple of hours, like 1 or 2 hours, 1.5 hours or something like that. And you kind of think like, hey, you know what? It's, you know, this strong building, right? Probably titanium, whatever, much more better materials withstood. But anyways, I watched documentaries, and they were basically saying that after it collapsed, they found this military grade explosive that has its own oxygen in it. What is it called? What is it called? 9/11 demolition, and it's called pyrite. Pyrite. No, it's called thermite. It's called thermite. There it is, thermite. Yeah, thermite sulfur components. Alright, so yeah, it's called thermite. So basically, thermite has its own oxygen fuel source that will in a sense, be able to create the heat that's required to melt the steel, and then have it then collapse on itself. So we watched some videos on YouTube. I'll let you guys do that. You'll see that before it collapses, you'll see puffs of smokes and boom, 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 boom before it starts to implode on itself. Okay. And I was like, well, if Bush really wanted to start a war, I mean, wasn't the crash enough? Why did he take down the building? And the other thing was that because there was a bunch of gold that was stored there, and then as soon as they collapsed, they kind of took it and hauled it away really quickly before they had investigated anything, and then they probably restored was able to extract the gold, liquid gold, out of the buildings or something. Okay. So, anyways, so now we went to war with Saddam, and supposedly he had a double. We couldn't get him to do what we want, and we did what we could as an economic hitman to corrupt him, and he wouldn't do it. And so we had to assume and say he had weapons of mass destruction, and the way we knew that was because we sold it to them. I met some army guy, and he was at the Afghanistan too, or Iraq, and he's like, yeah, there's a lot of half truths out there. The reason why we couldn't say that he had it was because it had U.S. serial numbers on the weapons of mass destruction on it, because we knew we sold it to him. So we just said, hey, we just never found any, right? So they probably got shuttled off to Syria, which is where they were using it to gas people, and go from there. All right. So, anyways, fast forward to today, World War III. Well, in order to get other countries in control, we can't just say, hey, we're gonna go there and just start a war. We have to sell a war. Something has to happen. Some kind of Pearl Harbor 9/11 event that has to happen on our soil, or maybe to us somehow. That's catastrophic enough to say, hey, I told you guys, Kim Jong-il has been creating nukes, Russia meddled with our elections, and China's trade war with us, and Iran won't stop making their nukes, and is it Syrian? Well, Assad, yeah, he's just being bad to his people, so we need to go in there for humanitarian aid, and not that and they're blocking our pipeline. So yeah, I think we need to go in there because something happened to us, whatever, maybe an EMP attack, who knows, or what else could happen, I don't know, maybe let's say the terrorist cells, let's say, were activated and they started to do some attacks, maybe another terrorist attack, and it's like, hey, it's must be Iran. Oh my gosh, we better go in there and take them out now because enough's enough, right? So that's what I'm waiting for in a sense. In the meantime, while still the tensions are starting to build, while all the sanctions we have, I think May 2nd was the zero waiver sanction on Iran, so Iran can't export any oil, and then that's gonna cause something, and the Strait of Bermuds or whatever it is that all the oil flows through. So we're gonna put our ships there, and then Venezuela, Russia's put their maybe nuclear missiles in Venezuela. So that's another Cold War crisis there, and so we're gonna send some ships down there, and then see, we need to justify something. Hey, they shot at us first, or they sent something, and now we need to. We need to lay down some rules and some firepower, and get this going. So look out for this, guys. I don't know that all the stuff that you hear on the news, it all boils down to the petrodollar, our dollar dominance, and our control of oil, and it's all justified by other things. That's the trade war. It's the Iran won't stop their nuke program, and we pulled out of their treaty, so because of that. And Russia is meddling with our elections, so we better and hacking our stuff. And then Venezuela, he's being bad, starving his own people, and so we're trying to help Guaido here. And then if he won't participate, we're gonna send our stuff in. And what else? yeah, in China's you have a trade war, and they're building their own Silk Road. They're getting off their petrodollar by gold-backed petro yuan, and that's gonna hurt a lot too. So yeah, we have to get these countries back in line. This is what we're gonna have to do, and we need to sell a war and sell it to the American people by creating some kind of 9/11 Pearl Harbor event. So let me know what you guys think. Comment below, and let's have a good discussion, and we'll see where this heads. And how are you guys gonna prepare if this all boils down? Are you guys gonna be ready for tough times? Because I think we need to do something before our dollar is our national debt's growing so much, our inflation's growing very high too, and we need to enforce the demand for that dollar, and we don't, then the dollar doesn't, it's not needed anymore, and we kind of lose our power there, and also our economy might collapse too. So we'll see, and go from there. Talk to you guys.